I'm continuing my conversation with Joyce Spencer. Let's learn a little bit about her history. You'll find it quite amazing.
I would love to go to people's houses and they open up the photo albums and start showing all these pictures and history. And it's just amazing.
Well, every some family reunions there were people that would come by that would say, "Hey, we're at your reunion because, what is the man? He was trying to tell me about a plantation where, during slavery, what happened was one of my four grandmothers was a healer, or she was into herbs and healing, and she was married to a guy, a slave who was half Native American, half African, and I heard his story, and a few years after that, my cousin, who I call my sister, we're close, and all my first cousins on my mom's side, we're like siblings, and Dee Dee called me. She said, I paid extra to dig deeper into my ancestry, and guess what I found? I know on our grandfather's side, when, I don't remember how many times removed, but I'm just going to say our four grandparents, how many times removed in the 1700s, early to mid 1700s, they came from Togo, Africa, on a slave ship. Traced it all the way back, and they had a daughter named Marie Therese Coin.
oh wow, that far back you were able to go.
Yeah, that far back. And we were on the phone. It was Daphne or Dee Dee and Ada and I. We were just like in a conference call, like, what? And she said, Joyce, it's on the internet. I said, what? She said, it's in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Now, granted, I grew up. Natchitoches is more north, and I'm South Louisiana, but I'm right there, and I didn't know that my ancestry was right there and being preserved. It's a museum. The plantation is a museum. And she was on one plantation, married to African slave who was also part Native American or half Native American. And she got sold or leased. I think that's what they called it back then.
Oh, it will not be like this always. And when my freedom comes, you'll see.
To another plantation.
Wait a minute. They called it lease? That
Yeah.
was something.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
It
Go
was,
ahead.
yeah. Yeah. To another plantation.
Okay.
And the plantation owner's name was Matwire. Well, she had 10 kids for him. She had 4 kids for the first one. She had 10 kids for him.
10.
And I had heard this story before that, one of your former grandmothers, that they ran the man out of town, so you got to go. And maybe they got too comfortable for some people back then. I don't know. But what happened was he bought all 10 children, all his children with Marie Therese. He bought their freedom. He bought hers. And then he turned over the plantation to her.
I did not own the rights to who I was. I simply complied and multiplied until my change.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Now, why didn't we know about? I found out about this.
And this is the plantation now that is it's a museum.
Natchitoches. We were planning on visiting, but when COVID canceled the reunion, we had planned Friday. We're going there. Everybody who wants to go, we're just going to go and visit, and it was just so amazing to find out. And what's so unfortunate is that some people think talking about it, oh, you can't talk about that. That brings division. No, it brings freedom that I know where I came from.
Right.
Because when you come from slavery, you think all your records are gone.
Right.
Everything is lost. And some of it is. And to find out where my ancestors came from, Togo, Africa, well, that's where, the slave ship took them and brought them to this country. So the way I see it, that if my family lineage has survived through all that, from the slave ship to landing here, the plantations, and we're still here, we're still producing another generation. To me, that tells me how strong my roots are.
To know your name, to know who you are and where you may be headed, important. But to know your history and exactly where you came from, powerful.
Name again?
Marie Therese Coin Matoyer. And I think it's spelled Terese. I think it might be French for Teresa. And what's interesting, my mom's name is Teresa. And because this is my grandfather's side, my mom's father's side, he had a sister named Teresa. That name has been in my family all these generations. Now we know where it came from.
I love that.
Isn't that cool?
I absolutely love that
And
story.
and if you Googled it, because Daphne called me, she said just Google it, you'll see. And I saw a picture of her. But when I went into a group called it's Creole something group on Facebook, and a lady named Melissa, she said, I've been researching this since I was a child. She said that picture you see on the internet is really her granddaughter, but at the museum there's a picture of her, but they will not allow anybody to take a picture.
You can't take a picture
Can't
of
take
her?
a picture of her.
But is there a picture of her on the internet?
No, but the
you
picture you
can't-
see that populates, they
Okay.
say it's her. But she told me, she said, that's not her, that's her granddaughter.
Oh, I see.
And
I
they
see.
won't let you, and I don't understand why.
Can't you take a picture
This
of
is
her?
my ancestry. Why can't I go in there and just take a picture of her? And it might be
Look,
the
I would
artist.
I'm been on the side of you. We're taking a picture.
And I know she would be so proud to see how, productive her lineage has been,
Though my face may not be seen in a plantation landmark founded by my own sons, my voice will be heard for many generations to come. I even hear the sound of an
generations.
instrument.
Daphne and I did count how many times removed, and I can't remember what we said, 7 or 8 times removed that we are. And then there is some of that even on my father's side. So yeah, it's interesting.
Your grandchildren are going to have a good time with doing a book report on this, and they better let them do it.
Yes, because and I still have a lot of reading to do. And the lady I met, Melissa, she said, if you need anything, she gave me a phone number. She said, I'd be happy to talk to you. And it was kind of interesting because when I posted, the picture that was on the internet, one of her descendants said, "Hello, cuz."
That's so beautiful.
And I found out that there are a lot of us, actually all over the country, that are descendants of her, and
love it.
that was so liberating to me to find out just that little bit of history about where I came from, to know, and when my brother did a DNA, and I said, oh, we have the same mother and father, let me see yours. And when I found out we have a combination of like 6 or 7 different countries in Africa, from Togo to Nigerian to Congo, Cameroon, and there are 2 or 3 more. I can't remember them right
You're
now.
gonna make me go and search my history out for sure.
It's amazing.
Now I
really want to go to Africa.
I know. Well, I've been. I went on a
wanna
crusade with a church that I belong to, and they had different people coming to the hotel that would, literally read our faces and tell us what part of Africa we were
I
from.
love that.
And they said, they started saying something. I don't know what they were saying. And then they said that I was from an Arabian tribe. So,
Wow, see?
I don't know. And then another person would come along, and you thought, okay, well, they just said that. And another person would come along and say the same things.
See?
So they can tell by your facial
And
features
the
that's
largest
funny.
percentage of African in me is Nigerian.
Okay.
That's the largest percentage.
Oh, you're going to make me go and search out my history.
And of course,
Of course
you
we
have the
should.
European. We know
of course.
that's
Right, yeah.
we have the European from England to Germany. I knew about Germany because it's on my father's side. I've heard those stories, and the DNA confirmed that. In Spain, and what was interesting, I was looking for the Native American, and it said Yucatan and something else. But Yucatan is, I think, Central America. Yeah, don't quote me on that. But I was like, but I looked up one that I didn't understand. So I looked up what it meant, and what it meant that was the original Mexicans before the Europeans came.
Right.
So I think what happened is that Native American, that we mistakenly call them Indians, and the original Mexicans, because they own part of this country, they were probably viewed as one and the same. If because you have the Aztec Indians that went to So I'm thinking that yes, Native American, but
not Native American, but more of Mexican.
Native Mexican, if you will.
Native Mexican American.
And then I found Yucatan.
Yes.
And I looked that up. I went, okay, I don't know anything. And wouldn't it have been great if we could have maintained all the cultures, not just the English, but the African and whatever else, the languages and everything? It would be so enriching. It would just be beautiful. But unfortunately, whatever we have blended with in our past, the only thing that's stuck is the English language.
Yeah.
And when you go to other countries, they know 2, 3, 4, 5 languages. Isn't that amazing?
And we have all of the different cultures right here.
Yes. Why can't we learn more than one language? And my parents knew too, because they knew how to speak the Creole French and English. And why didn't I learn that? And back then, learning Creole French was an indication. Oh, you speaking that Creole French? It was like you're ignorant or something.
Oh, okay.
Don't
Is
speak
that. You weren't supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's like speak English, speak English. Don't do that. You have to speak English because everything is English here. So speak English, speak English. But I think actually it's when I joined Facebook and I friended people from all over the world, and there were several of them that could speak 3, 4, and 5 languages, and I was kind of envious. I said, "Oh my," because one of them he sent me a private message. And I replied, "What?" He said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I was just talking to my friend in Germany, and I wrote to you in German." And then, he said that in English. So he could not only speak several languages, I think he could speak like 4. He can write. Isn't that brilliant? I think that's amazing. I think we missed out.
You did. We did miss out.
And learning different languages and not seeing it as, if you didn't speak English, speaking that Creole French or Cajun French or whatever, then that was a sign of ignorance. You were, but you had to speak English and you had to speak proper English. You couldn't split verbs, but there's a dialect in every corner.
Yes.
And I think that you realize what your dialect is when somebody makes you angry.